I guess it was scary.
Should I start it now?
Pieces of the facade.
Should I put it to the video?
Major moving dust. I can understand this being a school, but these shutters. Thanks, this is cool. It's probably record last week, it just gave me a feeling of happiness, so. No matter who came in later. But I would believe that, whoever lived there with his family, put the bathroom in and everything, would have pissed off everyone. Yeah, I know, we saw Dark Shadows, I was like, are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook on their page? There's a couple other pages.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I was watching this afternoon.
Last week was all the black and white ones.
Well, they had some black, they started black and white today, they went to color. So it's kind of like.
I wanted them, last like spring they did it, when Decades first came out. And I wanted them, they did like a whole week worth. Yeah, couldn't do that. But I wanted them to go in the parallel time.
And it's funny.
That's what I wanted.
Each episode continues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it ends, it's like, okay, no.
And I was just like, you know, my kids are like, why are you screaming? And I'm like, because it's the same scary stuff. And I really wanted them, I would have liked them to continue and gone into the portraits that it aged, you know, and all that stuff, all the cool stuff, you know. See, there's other people just like, God forbid you go but it was. Dark Shadow? Channel 240. Comcast, you're on Comcast? I mean, that's right. Told you I got his signature on both. That current one, when I went to see him, I got it in 08. I tried so hard when I was 8. I remember that. This is a cool outfit. I don't need the manor. I see the houses. You know?
There we go.
Flowers are wonderful. It was like just enough to get out and be happy.
Like, you get into two adults. It's like,
you got your planet. Another piece of glass that I found that was,
Because I've just been
old,
thinking like, oh, I'm hanging a click, and like.
coming out of the ocean.
You know what I mean? At a very funny way. I just know the perfect time.
I found a cool jacket, and I was like, all right, you gotta make sure he likes it, if he doesn't like it, I want to do something nice for you, but it's practical. Because you already got something that was really cool, you know? You figure it out, split the stuff.
So you don't necessarily, people might like it.
And that's what we're talking about right now.
I actually, I don't know.
Cough drops. Blood cough drops. They did.
Whenever I see
I'm not sure what these something else.
I said,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Proprietary House. I am Jane Doherty. I am the psychic leading the tour. I did the investigation here. I think it's probably about 15 years ago, maybe even more. So I've been doing this for 15 years along other places. I started doing them at the Spy House years ago. And then I did the Metler House, the Waterloo Village. So I've been quite a few places. Okay, I'm going to begin to tell you how you can experience a spirit, whether it's here, in another haunted place, or in your own home. Now you're going to say to me, no, wait a minute. I don't have a ghost in my house. And I'm going to say to you, you don't know that. Because a lot of times they can stay dormant for years. And then something triggers it off to start it manifesting, and then you know you have a ghost in the house. Isn't that a sobering thought? The best way for you to know is start renovating the house. Because that is the prime time and the prime trigger point that starts the manifesting if you have a ghost in the house and you don't know it. Now, you can see spirits, and I don't mean that they look always like a ball of light or a white mist sometimes. But a lot of times they look like you and me, and you will not know a ghost is in front of you. I'm going to pick this gentleman to come up here. I love picking on gentlemen. Can you come up here? Real, right? Yes. Okay. Now, I love this part. I used to be a high school teacher, so I get to get my students again, so I love it. Stand here right in front of me. Face the group and be embarrassed. Now, what you think is that a spirit is going to push you. That's what you expect. That it's going to grab you and push you like that. No, that's only in the movies. And what happens, if you think that's what's going to happen, you get scared, you run, you trip, you fall down, and you say, Spirit, push me down. In reality, it was simply your fear that caused you to fall down. This is the way they will touch you, with a poke, with pressure, let's say on your back. You might feel a tingling sensation at the neck, a slight tingling sensation at the top of your head, or underneath here on your chin. The worst is if you walk into it and it's the cobweb feeling. That's the one I hate. Because you can't get rid of that feeling. It's awful. So you could experience that too. Okay? Thank you. Now you know. Now you're going to be touched. Now, if you see a spirit, and I'm going to pick this gentleman here because he's got a lot of color on. Now, another guinea pig. Now, if he were a spirit in front of you, you would see him exactly like this. You would see glasses, you would see a beard on him, you'd see exactly the way he was dressed, where his hands were. You'd see glasses, everything. I could come over and look like this and he could turn around and look at me. The only way that I would know he was a spirit is to touch him, because if he's a ghost, my hand would go through him or he'll dissipate in front of me. We're gonna check.
I think he's real.
He's real. One of these days, thank you.
You mean I got a live one? Right.
Got a live one. One of these days, I'm gonna have a surprise. I just know it. That when I do that to somebody,
They could really be.
it's gonna really be a ghost. And then I'm gonna scream, and I'm gonna be the first one out of here. And you will be on your own. But I just know that's going to be. Now, you also can hear spirits. A lot of times, the common things is gonna be footsteps. We have that here. You might hear dishes clanging. You can hear doors opening and close. Anything that kind of mimics the living. You also can be, hear a whisper behind your back, somebody whispering. You can hear that. Sometimes you can hear your name called out. Sometimes they actually can do that. I've had encounters where they did do that. You also can smell spirits. And most of the time, you're going to get a cologne, a perfume, a cigarette smell, a liquor smell, a cooking smell. These particularly are associated with your loved ones, I find. That if your loved one in spirit is going to come around you, you're going to find out by smell. Also in dreams, a very, very vivid dream of your deceased loved one is you've been visiting them during the night. That's how they communicate. That's what, goes on. Now, every now and then you have a smell you don't want. And here we have one of those smells you don't want. And people think their neighbor just let one loose. But it's not. It's the horse manure from the spirit of horses that are here. The first room that you came to when you came into the building to the left, when I did the investigation there, all I found was images, when I closed my eyes, of horses being tied up in the room. Now, I could not figure out why in the world are there horses in the building. But during the Revolutionary War, that's what they used to do, take the horses inside the building so they weren't stolen during the night. So that was common, although I didn't know it. I couldn't figure out why I'm seeing horses. But every now and then we have that lovely smell during a tour. Not pleasant when that happens. Now, why do they haunt? They haunt for several reasons. One is they could be attached to a person, a place, or a thing. If they're attached to a place, they don't want to move on because they just love it so much. We all have our attachments. We get attached to various things, and I think years ago, people may have been more attached than we are today because we have a lot more things that we can become interested in, which helps us to become less attached to things. So they would be attached. They also could have gone into the light and decided that they want to hang around where they were. Sometimes you have them there and sometimes you don't, because in the next dimension, you live in a world of memories. So when they are reliving a memory, that's when they are, you might feel as though it's haunted, or you'll feel the spirit. And that goes on a lot. Now, you also can be attached to a person. You can walk into a place and your presence could trigger off the haunting. Because they take a liking to you in some way, or you remind them of somebody when they were alive, and the manifesting starts. Or in some cases I have found it's past lives. Very interesting when somebody walks in and a spirit is still attached to that place, and then it starts to manifest because they may have had a life with you. It's very interesting. I've done a few cases like that. So, it becomes very interesting. Now, you also could, if it's attached to you as a person, if you get sick of being in New Jersey and living in a haunted house, and you decide you're moving to Hawaii to get rid of the spirit, nice, sunny island of Hawaii and peaceful without hauntings, guess what? It's going with you. You're not getting rid of it. It's going to go wherever you go, from place to place. Now, how many of you collect antiques or go to garage sales?
I do.
Okay, a few of you do, good. Because you know what?
You pick up spirits.
You could have gotten an extra bonus with your purchase.
Oh, God.
Or you could, in the future, get an extra bonus, because spirits are attached to things. And you don't know that when you're purchasing something, and then all of a sudden, the spirit starts to manifest. We also have something called a crisis apparition. When a person dies, they appear to their loved ones. Their loved ones don't know they're deceased, and then they get a call in the middle of the night or the next morning to say they died several hours before. Find this a lot. I think that I really feel as though when a person dies, they attempt to contact their relatives to let them know. Some of us, have the pleasure of experiencing that, and some of us don't. I think one of the best ones that was told to me is a girl's uncle came to the door. He knocked on the door. She opened the door. She greeted him. He said hello. He mumbled a few things. She said, Mom is in the kitchen, so he goes into the kitchen. His sister greets him. He mumbles. He says a few things. She asks him if you want food, and he said yes. He sits down. She turns around to the stove to fix the plate and bring it to him, and she turns around. He's nowhere there. They look throughout the house and could not find him. 20 minutes later, half an hour, they find that he died a couple of hours before. So that's a very dramatic example, but it does happen. I have encountered spirit. I didn't talk to a spirit. And I wouldn't have known it was a spirit because it's talking, it's answering, but it's reading my mind. That was very interesting. Happened at the Raritan Library in Somerset. Now, besides the horse manure here that you will smell, over here, when I do seances, sometimes it's in this room, we have an ornery spirit that will hang out over there. Can push people, can just be annoying to people. I've had that over and over again at seances. Across the way, in that room there, I'm just going to sit for a second. Legs are getting to me. Over there, in that room there are, that's a hot spot. You can get EVPs in that room. You can get definitely orbs. Whisperings have been heard. Sightings have gone on. Typically what's happened is the tea room, it's set up for tea. So you will go by and you will see the teacup turned right side up as though somebody is having tea and two chairs pulled out. And you'll fix it, you'll go by again, and the same thing will happen. I had it happen when I was right in the room. So it's really very interesting when that happens. I've also seen, when I did the investigation, is a Revolutionary War soldier that stood on the right part as you look in that corner, but only he didn't stay, he walked through the wall. And what I felt is that that wasn't a wall in his dimension, that was a tunnel, and that's what he was doing. And then I asked the historian if there's ever been any mention of a tunnel, and there was. They felt that there was. They could never find it, but there was that story of a tunnel. I know the conference house across the way in Staten Island has a tunnel, so you could assume that this did too, and that's what that is, but they never found it. But I could see that this is where he was going, was a secret place to go. Now, down the hallway, we have the spirits of children. And they are seen playing. And with all the things that they play with is toilet paper. Hey, they don't have the gadgets that we have today, the computers and the cell phones and all the things that we have to play with. So children back then played with things like toilet paper. And that would be something they wouldn't even know existed. So, oh, this is cool, it unravels. I mean, just like a cat would be playing. So that is heard in the hallway. It's also seen where toilet paper would be strewn across the way. Now they have a nasty habit of fooling around with buttons besides. So the ladies' room is haunted. And what they like to do is lock you in the bathroom. And they will strew toilet paper over on the top and they'll lock you in. Now, on a tour a few years ago, the last tour, I left the historian up there and I said, I have to run downstairs to the bathroom. Nobody down here, door's locked, nobody else is going to come in. I go into the bathroom, I'm on the john, I hear the door open and close, I hear footsteps, I hear the stall next to me open. Yep, because I don't hear anything. And there I was, looking for feet. Looking for feet. No feet, I got off of that john very fast. It was the quickest hand wash I've ever done. And I ran out, because I knew what was gonna happen next. And another time, we've got the place closed up, the ladies had the bathroom locked up, I'm leaving with Don, and I said, you know what, I better go to the bathroom before I get in the car. So he had to unlock it, and I go in, and there's toilet paper strewn all over the place. You know, when you see it, it's
funny, but.
it's like unbelievable, you know, because, okay, now you're seeing it. Now, what has happened, gentlemen, for all these years, it was only the women that had to worry. Well, now we have that same activity in the men's room. We had somebody 2 years ago go into the bathroom, and he, before the tour, never been here before, and he hears the banging on the wall going on, the toilet paper is moving, and there's nobody in there. He heard somebody in the stall, and there was nobody, and he looked, and there was nobody in there. So he had this very perplexed look on his face, and I know the gentleman. He's one of the, from New Jersey Discover. And so I've been interviewed by him, and that's how he came. And so I'm looking at him, and he's got this perplexed look on his face. I thought, like, am I doing something he doesn't like? You know, he's not his cheery self that he usually is. It's because he was so disturbed over what had happened. And he couldn't tell me yet until the tour was over. But he still was mulling it over in his head. You know, I love when something like that happens. It makes my day. Especially when I have a skeptic, and then they get scared. Then I'm really delighted, because then that's always fun. Okay, we are going to go upstairs next, and you'll go to the left, they'll collect your tickets, and I'll meet you upstairs, because I go to the elevator. Unless there's somebody who has a knee problem or whatever wants to ride the elevator. Very cool.
flag added in 1801. National Red Stripe. That was for bringing Ireland into Great Britain. Okay, that stripe was added. So the British flag nowadays is a little bit different. It has a second diagonal red stripe. Does anybody know what this flag is? And I doubt we do, but any idea? You should know what that flag was, because that flag was used in 1775 on Bunker Hill, in Breeds Hill, where American troops were slaughtered by bayonet. In those days, you could not protect bayonets to American muzzleloaders. The British, of course, were well equipped, and they had bayonets to charge up Bunker Hill and Breeds Hill, even though British suffered great losses. It was a complete disaster in the American forces. But that was the flag that was used, and that was the flag that was used here in 1776. Okay, it's called the Grand Union Flag. This is the first American flag, and as you can see, it has the Union Jack incorporated into it. About a year later, 1777, nice seamstress lady by the name of Betsy Ross in Philadelphia makes a different type of flag. But that was used in 1775 and 1776, when this gentleman right here was the royal governor of a colony in New Jersey. Does anybody know who this gentleman is? You're in his house yet? No.
Franklin.
George Washington was our general, our first president. This is Royal Governor William Franklin. William Franklin was the son of
Benjamin.
That's right. Benjamin Franklin was a great American patriot. He was signed up the Declaration of Independence. However, his son decided to stay loyal to the British crown. Father and son were very close, and they were always close. You've probably heard of the great electricity experiment that Benjamin Franklin conducted, where he flew the kite with the chain and the cord attached to it. Have you ever heard that story about electricity? Have you heard that story? Benjamin Franklin's doing these electrical experiments, flying the kite. Well, Benjamin did not fly the kite. It was actually his son William that flew the kite. So father and son were very close up until 1775. And Benjamin came to Perth Amboy to convince William to come over to the American Patriot side. In fact, one London Gazette magazine stated that Benjamin Franklin offered William his entire fortune. And Benjamin Franklin was one of the richest men in the colonies of that time. He had franchised out his printing business. He went to Portuguese, all the that on shore, and read some of his work and some of his poetry and prose. Benjamin Franklin was very wealthy. He was able to retire and do experiments. He was later awarded a doctoral degree. At the same time, his son was awarded a master's degree. Father and son were very close up until the time of the American Revolution. Now that gentleman over there on that wall, that's King George III. He's the troublemaker. He's the one here. He came during the time of the American Revolution. And after he lost it, after the Battle of Yorktown, after he lost the colony, good King George refused to speak about the American Revolution and the loss of the colony until the day he died. That young lady there, she look familiar? Take a look at her face. Look at her eyes and the jaws and the mouth. This is Ben Franklin's daughter, Sally. Actually, her name was Sarah, but like nowadays we give nicknames, everybody called her Sally. She took care of Benjamin Franklin until the day he died. She was also a loving sister to William. She loved her brother very much. So there's some tragedy within that family. The family split down the middle. And when William was arrested here in 1776, in June of 1776, he was taken away, and he never saw his wife, who also lived here, again. His wife Elizabeth lived upstairs with 13 children. She had no children of her own. She lived with Brigadier General Courtney Skinner's wife and 13 children upstairs. She lived here for about a year after he was arrested. He was arrested and taken away to prison. He refused to belong to the American Patriot side. And he never saw his wife again. She eventually wound up in New York City with the British troops there. She was dying. William pleaded to the Continental Congress, "Let me see my dying wife." And they told him no. He had a good friend. William had a good friend who interceded on his part. That gentleman was General George Washington, who knew William very well and knew Benjamin very well. General George Washington wrote to the Continental Congress saying, let William see his wife. And he refused General Washington. She died. 2 months later, William was released from prison, and he did a plaque for his wife. She's buried in Trinity Church in New York City. So there's some great tragedy in this house, also some great joy as well. But that rift between father and son occurred right here in 1775 in the very room that you're in now. And they argued, and they argued. And it was so bitter that Benjamin Franklin wrote William out of his will, saying that you would have deprived me of everything. Should have you won the American Revolution? Should the British have won and triumphed? So I'm leaving you nothing. And that's a terrible story. They never reconciled. Never reconciled. William went to live in Great Britain. Benjamin Franklin did visit him, but they never reconciled. Sad, sad story. So William's life is never the same. But the rooms that you're going through this evening are the very same rooms that William Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, as well as people like Rutledge and John Adams and other people visited. This is an original mansion. Not reconstructed. Other mansions, other royal governor's mansions like Williamsburg are reconstructed from scratch. These are the original walls. You're walking through the same hallways, the same rooms that William Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, and other American patriots did. So again, welcome to the Proprietor House. I will turn over the tour to our resident psychic, Jane Gallery, and I hope you're enjoying tonight's evening.
Okay, we're going to stand up and follow me into
You're welcome. Good evening. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Okay, again, be good or we will nail you to the stocks. We'll put you in the stocks, we will nail your ears back. We don't remove the nails, we just cut off your ears.
Gotcha. Very cool. How come the little kids don't play here? If I was a little kid, I'd be playing here. If I was a little kid, I'd be playing here.
So they really worked at trying to get this restored, and it's really looking beautiful. Okay, I told you about, well, maybe I didn't. I'm sorry, I forget, I'm saying it so many times that I'm forgetting if I said it to this group or not. I have this crazy phenomenon that goes on. The way I locate spirits is with my stomach. My tummy doesn't look at first, and it goes to investigation. If a spirit is present, my stomach is going to expand anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. It's a measure. Yes, I'm a heavy woman, but you will see what happens, and that's how I locate spirits. And I'll show you here's my normal fat self, and I'm going to get into the path of spirit, and you will see what just happens to me. Now this is me with spirit. This is the path of spirit. I'll walk out of it again so you can see how it goes down to, this is a normal.
Cool. Cool.
Okay, I just need to clear the path so I can walk it. Okay, when I do a ghost investigation, I'm always going to walk a path because I'm going to try to find out what the spirit's path is. That also helps me to determine who it is, why it's here in psychic vision. So this is the path of the spirit. It is a female, and she walks this path here. So when you go into this path, you are walking with spirit energy. And she is often seen standing right here at the window. You could go by at night. People have different photos of somebody standing here in the middle of the night. We had someone with a cop that lived on the street, and at night he would ride by, have to point out, and he'd see a window, a woman in the window, but he assumed it was a mannequin. And so several times seeing that he finally went to the said, you got to take that mannequin out of the window, because I know that's TSC every night. Now, again, I'm walking the path, so I'm gonna walk out of it again. Now what I need is a gentleman volunteer. What's your name? Dawn. Okay, Dawn, you're gonna stand over here opposite me, and you have no idea what you're gonna have to do. He's ready. You will never guess what he has to do. Okay, you have to face me, and we'll go back further, just to get on the right. And we're gonna do the ghost two-step. Okay, the ghost two-step, you have to walk with it. The difference is you have to put your hands on my belly, because you have to feel when spirit enters me and releases me. And so, you look at it this way, it's a free feel you're getting. Okay, so we're gonna start this left step, 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 step. Take a long time. Okay, here we go. Feel it? And now we're gonna go back that way. It will lead me more dramatically. All right, step, 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 step. What did you feel? Is it a little weird?
Yeah.
Thank this belly has been touched by about 5,000 people over the years. And I get teased and say I should go to Lloyd's of London and contact me with the belly. Insurance on the belly. It's a good ghost detector. Okay, now besides that woman, I will explain, and I don't really know why my stomach does this, but I'm in the field. I've been a psychic for many years, since somewhere around the mid-'80s. And I was a high school teacher at one time in a film scapula. So it's interesting where I am today. I mean, a different kind of teaching, and that's fine. I love it. Now, I can only explain, and as far as I know, I'm the only person that this happens to. I've not met another psychic. I had one in England contact me who has a little bit of a expansion, not as much as what happens to me. That makes me a physical medium, and they're rare, where somehow spirit is changing me. And sometimes people will say that my face will look different also when I'm in the energy. Now, as a psychic and as a person, I'm very sensitive. So if I'm going to do a reading on a person, I don't use cards, I do it clairvoyantly. But what I do is I feel the person's aura, and I take it to this area. And when I do that and have my eyes closed, I start to get pictures, I start to get images. And I just think that over the years of doing that, I'm just so sensitive that when I did my first ghost investigation, this is what happened. And I didn't know what it was at first. I yelled. Like, what the hell is this? And then as I went on in this house, he did it again. By the third time it happened, a cold came, and I knew it was ghost. My stomach actually located 8 of the 9 places the family had reported spirit activity. So it's very reliable in that stick. So now I'm going to go to the other area where spirit is. Yes, you're in the area right over there. So you'll see, here's my stomach. Now you watch. As soon as I turn the corner, it will go down. The spirit energy stops there. Now that's it. So right there. So I'm going to walk over to this area. There's nothing. And then as I get here and I back up, this is where the spirit is. So when I did the investigation, I got here, got into my psychic mode. I felt it was a man, and I smelled whiskey, I smelled cigarettes, and I felt that a man had died in this room and chair. And then I learned that the caretaker was found dead in the chair here. And this room at one time was divided into 2. That's why you have activity over there, and this is separate. Now, people will also in this room sometimes get dizzy, sometimes feel faint, a little nauseous. You've had that? You have it now? Okay, and they might smell whiskey or something like that. Are you okay? That's freaking by my belly. Yeah. Okay, and you're gonna walk away, and you can come into the next area. Nope.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Even now with the paint, it shows off the arches before. You didn't see that as well. But now with the contrast, you really can see the arches.
I love it all.
A lot of the paintings here were done by a member of the Proprietary House organization, Tom Ward. He just died 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So we feel his presence, what we had last night on the tour, there was like a picture frame here, and it kept falling, it kept flying off the table. So I think that was probably him, letting us know that he was still here. Now, where the activity is centered in this room is around the door. Now, what usually happens is you could be standing in this room, nice and admiring everything, and you hear the doorknob turning, you see the doorknob turning, and you think you're going to be a good Samaritan, and you're going to look out and see who's there so you can let them in. So you finally do that, and you discover there's no one there. But you know that that doorknob was turning, and you heard it. So how could there be no one there? If you look a little further, all of a sudden something will pop up. It'll be a little boy dressed in knickers. He could be sitting at the very base of the steps, or you could see him walking on the street. He is a very active spirit here. He's a very active spirit in the neighborhood. Many, many stories over the years, people coming on the tour telling me how he visited their house, back there, over there, just all these different stories. Now, on that tour, when I mentioned it, this one tour a few years ago, 2 women gasped when they were standing there, because they live across the street. And they've been wondering who this new kid was on the block that keeps playing in their driveway. And he has knickers on. So they found out who it is. It's the spirit of the little boy. Now, here in the center, this also is where my stomach will go out. And you'll say, I'm going to walk this way. You're right in his path. And this is where she is walking. Beautiful kind of down, long dress. And if I move away from there, you'll see what happens. My stomach goes down. My crazy stomach. And what happened is a workman was working here, an electrician, and he needed a question answered. And he saw this lovely woman walking up and down. So he approached her with a question. So what she did was just turn around and give him a very nasty, dirty look. And he was exasperated, like, my God, what kind of work do you have working here? So he went downstairs, talked to the ladies to get his question answered. And he said, why do you have someone so mean working up there? It's so rude. And they said, we don't have anyone working up there. There's no woman. So he was the place to talk to, and when he realized that, he was through a ghost. And he encountered one, he got his tool, he left, and there was no one. That is very typical of workmen. I know I have a hotel in Elizabeth, and the man is beside himself because he can't keep workers, because it's the night shift is when the spirit will get on the elevator, and then they quit, they do the job. I always love it when a skeptic has experience. When I did ghost tours at Waterloo Village, the PR guy used to gives me a hard time. And, you know, he's manager here. So one night, he is riding in the village with the owner, and all of a sudden, he sees a woman standing by the lamppost, dressed in period clothing, and he thought it was a guy. So he's yelling at her, is everything okay? Everything okay? This was around 10, 11 o'clock at night. She didn't answer, so he gets out of the car to approach her, and as he approaches her, she dissipates in front of him. He ran like hell to the car. Yes. Better yet, next day he ended his resignation. There is no way he wanted any part of the village after that. So I love when things like that happen. It elates me, you know, with a skeptic. And there was another skeptic when I did it towards buyout. Gave me a hard time. Actually gave my mother a hard time because she had experiences there. And I was doing the tours, and he was like laughing about it at the time. I was thinking, you know, never crossed my mind. She was Italian, so she was a strong woman. And she said to me, I hope someday, I wish, that the spirit comes and scares the hell out of you. Nothing is going to happen. Well, a few months later, I was doing a seance there, and it was after midnight, and it was over with, and he went out to his truck, and he saw the children playing in the backyard. And he's yelling at them to get out of there, because nobody should be there. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And as he got there, they would leave, and all they did was circle around him, and he's yelling at them to leave. And as he got closer to one of them, they just ate. But they had to come get me, and months he was not right, months, because he just stared. He couldn't even look at me telling me the story. To my delight. Absolutely. So I love when skeptics have experience. We're going to go back into the great room, and you can sit down again. State, and I look at John, the historian, and I'm listening, I think, why am I seeing soldiers? Now, I had no idea about the history. I didn't even know what a war was. And then he was telling me during the time of William Franklin, when the British were here, William Franklin loved the parade. So the soldiers used to march on the street. The houses weren't there, so this would be just contingency after contingency of formation and marching. Now, when I got to this part of the room, again, I didn't know anything about it. History in me is something that never got along. It always kept me off the A honor roll in high school. Never get higher than a B, so it aggravated me. And so therefore, I only learned it for the test. And then boom, it went out. I did it so bad that I remember my husband, ex-husband, was a history teacher. Imagine how embarrassed I was going out with him the first time he takes me to a history lesson, and you know, he's got the gray uniform and the blue uniform, and I had no idea what it was. Very embarrassing. And I was a high school teacher, so I was an English teacher. So I should know it, but it's blocked me. And it's a blessing for me today, because as a psychic, as I go to a house, there is no way that the impression that I'm getting has to do with me knowing history, because it's a blank. And I need somebody with me when I'm doing a historical place that knows history, because as I get the image or the information, they can place it in the history, and that's how the investigation proceeds. So as I move to this part of the room, I'm walking again, and my stomach goes out as I approach this particular thing. And it's going back and forth in the room. So now I'm trying to find a path. I know this is a path. So I'll walk to the right of me, and my stomach goes down, so I know that is not the path. I get back here, and my stomach is out, so I know this is the path. So then it's work the candle. And then I go here, and it goes back there. So now I'm walking back and forth, and I'm trying to determine who it is. And with my eyes closed, I'm getting images. And I'm getting an image of, like I sensed, that there was two men. I could hear conversation going on. And as I listened carefully, it sounded like two men rather than a bunch of men. And then the conversation escalated, and that made me feel that it was an argument. And then I saw all I saw was a hand with a roll of newspaper or something that looked like that, and he was hitting another hand. And then I saw him fling something, and I heard footsteps, and I assumed that he just left the room. And so when I came out of that psychic mode, I then said, does this make any sense to you? I said, could there have been an argument in this room? And of course he laughed, because this is where the great debate took place, that argument, the story you talked about before, between Ben Franklin and William Franklin. Now, because this had become an exciting, beautiful room to me, when I had my book release party, I really wanted it here in this house and in this room. So I did, and over in that corner was a rock band. Could you imagine a rock band lasting in here? I've done some work in here, doing psychic development. I played music. People were being touched and shoved as that music was playing. So they do react to music. Now, I'm going to go over to the infamous elevator. Now, why I call this infamous is because it has lots of stories of people getting stuck in the elevator. Sometimes as much as 2 hours. Can you imagine?
I got stuck in that room.
Did you? Here we go. And so what happens is you're stuck in the elevator, they get the fireman, they get an electrician, they get here, and as soon as they approach the elevator, it starts working. Now, I think what happens is because in the next dimension, you live in your memories. So that is why sometimes you have the spirits here and sometimes you don't. So when a spirit is reliving a memory, like William Franklin, he is here, that's when the elevator gets stuck. Because right behind the elevator on the other side, all of this used to be William Franklin's study. So when he's here, he's getting bothered with people, and spirits are known to jam buttons, their energy. And I feel that's what's happening. Over the years, there's many a media that's tried to take a picture of me when my stomach is out and the camera jams. They can't take it. They go outside, the camera works. So it's a lot of fun when that happens. To my delight. Yes.
You say spirits live in your memory, but you can also interact with spirit in a dialogue that's taking place now. Do they live, are the spirits in different states, or
Is it process? Yes.
talking about ghosts who are living in your memory? People who've gone into the light, or
People have gone to the light and go into memories. Almost all. It's a world of memories. So it doesn't matter if you interact with somebody today. You still have memories of when you lived here. So you can do both.
so when you've gone into the light, you are remembering the light that you had?
Yes. Yes. And you relive it. So to me, any memory you have, if it's a bad memory, I suggest you find something good in that bad memory. Because when you get to the other side, you're recreating your new life here. So you want to have all good memories. And that's important. Now, aside from getting stuck in the elevator, we've had, on the second floor, there's offices, and the ladies are coming down, going to lunch, and there's a man that walks into the elevator, they think it's a man, looks like a man, until he dissipates through the wall as the elevator's moving. Can you imagine? That would freak me out. No question about it. This elevator is also, another story, has to do with a little boy in blue, Snickers. Is the businessman on the third floor had equipment malfunction. So he hired a courier to come and bring him the equipment. They told him that the door would be locked, it was not be open. Well, when the courier got here, the door flung open. There was a little boy in blue waved him in. He came in waving right over the elevator. They went on the elevator, and they went to the third floor, and the little boy gets out and goes to the left, and the courier goes to the businessman's door. Knocks on the door. The businessman opens it up, startled, and says, "How did you get in here? The doors were locked." The courier says, "Well, your son let me in." The businessman says, "I just have a son." So they knew who that was. And the little boy actually went to the window on the third floor. Now, unknown to me, maybe 35 years ago, they had a psychic here who said the little boy was thrown out of the third floor window. When I did the investigation in my school year, I said the same thing, without knowing what that psychic said. So we can pretty much, if one psychic says it and another one says it, without knowing that information, you can pretty much count on that being true. We also have a lawyer's office, and the woman there, the secretary, had an encounter. It was lunchtime. Everybody was gone, except the man comes in and he sits down. And she's calling him, "Can I help you? Can I help you?" And he's not paying attention. And then she walks over to him to approach him and dissipates in front of her. She was very unnerved by the experience. Trying to get this out of her to retell it she was still in that pain of being afraid. The other experience here had to do with the teachers' union. They have an office here. One night, a couple of the teachers were staying later at night. They were alone in the building until they heard footsteps coming down the hall. Heavy, heavy footsteps coming right to their door. And you can imagine, they locked the door, they put the desk in front of it, and they were scared out of their minds. And it stops suddenly. They don't hear anything. They wait about 15, 20 minutes, and they get brave enough to undo it. There's nothing there. Footsteps are heard a lot. You can hear at night. You can hear the footsteps, and that is pretty much, you'll hear that a lot in one of the places you'll hear the footsteps. Okay, we are going to go into the other room.
Be of good cheer, do not fear the dead, fear the living.
In this hall that you're walking in now, there has been a figure of a tall, thin man that walks the hall. And a woman has seen it quite often, and when she was shown a picture of a man, Mr. Gruen, and she recognized as Mr. Gruen. The place has been several things since it was covered in literature. It's been a hotel, and then we've had it as a flop house, it's been an orphanage, it's been a minister's home, retirement home, so it's been a lot of different things, so you don't know, you can have spirits in different places. Now, when I leave you, you'll be able to go by the steps and into that other little room to look in. In the step area on one of the tours, we had someone go right up past the guide and go running up the steps. In some kind of theory clothing. And And he ran up after him and nobody was there. She yelled, "Where you going? You can't go." And he went running up to him, and nobody was there. And you can't get out of there. It's all blocked. There's no doors. In that little room there that used to be the gift shop, I would take a tour in there. It was a very tiny tour. When I went in there to do the investigation, what I saw were children in beds. Didn't know it was an orphanage. And I felt it was kept like a sick room. When the kids got sick, they were all in one room. Now, on tours, we had people see a woman and a child in that room. But to me, the worst activity was a couple of years ago. And I would take people in there. This time I decided to be funny. And I said, let's see if you can find the ghost in this room. With that, the glass shelf was picked up and thrown across the room. The lady sitting at the desk, I still remember their face, frightened. I mean, I was frightened. You just somebody could have gotten hurt. Nobody got hurt, but it landed right in front of the desk. It was probably, let's say it was here and the desk was there. So, but it didn't fall. It was lifted when that happened. So if somebody had been in there, they would have gotten hurt. There's no question about it. So I think it's this ornery man, the uncle who threw the kid out the window, because he is fresh. And, you know, it's right there. Now, in that door there's been activity where you can see the room will open and close while you're in the Where are you? And you had that experience.
It's my first real ghost story. Bang, creaking of hinges really loud, and that door was turned and the door was open. And then I checked the door and there was hinges don't creak at all. And it's supposed to securely. So that, and I was so excited I ran over there. Thank you.
This drawer here, drawer with anyone there's been times between different doors moving, opening and closing, so that's done. I felt the spirit along that wall that it was served. It was probably cooking or something there. And this was William Franklin's breakfast room, so food used to be served here. To me, something did happen when I was on the tour, like standing here, and somebody put their hands on my door. I turned around and there was nobody there. So I waited for the next tour. Same thing. Strong. The third tour, it was really strong, and I was becoming alarmed because at any point it could have really pushed things. It was very, very strong. And I think he's the man downstairs that caused the problem for the seance. I think he's the man that threw the glass shower. So I finally said to him to stop, because I figured the fourth time he's going to have too much energy. Fortunately, it stopped. But of course, I at first thought it was a man doing it, because that happened to me in the spy house. There was a spirit there who like pinched women's rear ends. So I've seen many black and blue rear ends in that place. And during the 1800s, they only liked robust, heavy women. They were the sexy women, because skinny women meant they had no money. So a robust and heavy woman, they liked because she had money. So that's who he would pitch. Well, on this one tour, I got pitched really bad. And I just stood there, tried to figure it all out, and everybody was quiet. And then I turned around and everyone burst out laughing. They'd seen it. They didn't know what I was going to do. Well, I grabbed the man and started joking. That's what I did. So you never know. So that's why I reacted. Okay. Any quick questions before I have to leave? You can stay up here a few minutes and take pictures and take pictures of the stairway. Forbes haven't gotten there and photos. But any quick questions that you may have? Okay.
What do you do with other seance?
Okay. If you're interested in the seance here, email me, because she was taking some names last night, but I forgot to tell her to do that tonight. So if there's people that are interested, we'll put in another seance. Thanks. Okay. So if you do, just take my card and email me and say you're interested in the seance. And then it will be before, it's not going on cruise, so I'm not going back until the 14th of November. So it's all right, I have a few brochures, and then I also have those little closets for psychic development. The number is not correct, but everything else is correct. The correct number is there, but you can always go to my website. The orange thing, just in case any of you are going to be in New York tomorrow, or that I'm doing a one-woman off-Broadway show tomorrow, 5 and 7. So you still can get tickets at the discount rate up to around noon tomorrow. So just to let you know. Other than that, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I could stay here forever and tell you what I know I can't. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, good to see you. Yes. Thank you. I saw all that stuff. Yeah, I'm like, we're out the drawing board. I'm hoping that there's a TV show, because the guy who did it last night is a New Jersey person, New Jersey Records, and we talked about this. He's got a lot of connections. They didn't have a third one, not stress. They what?
Yeah, I would do that too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. The work. I am too. Beautiful. Yes, yes. Who did? The guys from Woodbridge. Oh, okay. But they didn't. I thought it was a TV. No, they did a video and they did a video. They did a video and they were interviewed by the resident. Yeah. Well, that's one mistake. I didn't get a press release out of that. All three of us right now, so we're building each other. We got prayers. Love you.
All right, love you too.
Is that the window they replaced? Where's the other window? If you will, Now, is this supposed to be this house?
No. It's just a doghouse. We had a,
There's somebody that knows stuff. Besides what we kind of built dollhouse, is that the window that they replaced a few years ago?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to see if that's what, I remember about this house.
We had this artist, Tom Ward, who had been an officer and trustee for many years, and he was a well-known, he passed away a couple years ago. So these paintings, but this summer we had a show of his paintings. He made this as well. And
based on anything?
no, just, colonial kinds of look, that's all. From his imagination. No, from his imagination, but it's just that he has like the artist studio, and we can have some of his little,
I like that, that's why I said,
painting.
what is this, guys, it's cute.
But, no, it's not really on anything in particular. No, not at all. It's just an old house.
I like it. Yeah, I can't understand what the people doesn't explain what the story is. I would have been up there for a little bit about
This historic making it was some reason.
I want to see the window.
Oh, you did that?
Is the window there place? Doesn't look like it. I remember seeing the big window in the newspapers that they replaced for the proprietary house.
No. the fan window there,
Yeah.
and smaller fan window there.
And then they have some of the,
Actually, I think that had been needed to be repaired
Yeah.
at one point as well, I'm not sure which one. It was, we were talking about, that at one point, it wasn't replaced, but it needed to be repaired.
some places in 1997 when I was working on my book, and 2002.
I think it might have been that one.
They were looking
It
for.
was, it needed to be repaired.
That was it then.
Mhm.
But I remember, you know, WCCC helped me find my information that I needed. to know, because I just
Oh,
didn't
please
go
don't
off the
take, please don't take that. Leave it over there.
I'm very much. Yes. Very majestic. Very majestic. Very majestic. Very majestic.
This actually belongs to the state. It's the one thing that the state owns in the interior. All of the rest of, yes, all the rest of the
How does that
collection,
happen?
all the rest of the collection is ours. It was very big and they had nowhere else to put it, and it fit here. So they asked if they could put it here and we said sure.
How cool is that?
So,
How cool is
yes,
that?
Old Breakfront.
You know, there's like, there's a few houses in Union County, and one of them happens to be on the Kane Estate.
Uh-huh.
And they have a dollhouse that this model is actually their house. I don't know if you've ever been up there by Boston State College. But,
No.
you want to go check it through it because they had Phil Tanner called well earlier in the day,
Uh-huh.
and Susan looked like her Livingston, this Livingston house.
Oh,
So you can see the sword work and the stairway where the checkout came in, like folks came in looking for these people. And then they thought it was Hannah that they called earlier in the day. She had ambulance was coming down the stairs and they actually dropped it, to scare a little kid, when the floor. They dropped it and it, slipped and that's what they were saying. They ran out of there like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I've never been up there.
Check that out. They like things. What's in there? They have a dollhouse that's modeled, a fab that's modeled after it.
Well, you mentioned the Canes and the Livingstons. Well, we were saying that pretty fine, but
And the Colwells too. The
Matthias
Colwells.
Bruin, who lived here, his descendants, his son married the granddaughter of John Jay, and the Livingstons were there. So Matthias Bruin's line eventually intertwined with the Livingston line.
So the Colwells, the Livingston adopted one right after Hannah was driver's license. So given Mark Boyd, he was born after for Washington. So they had a lot of info up in the
Mr. Bruin, I am very concerned. Governors are supposed to bring me out tea with sugar, and I have yet to receive my tea with sugar.
What they look like, okay.
I didn't get my
Would you be so kind, Mr. Bruin, as to tell the servants to bring up my tea, please?
Is somebody that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, and I need to get you to add that too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. We got the information on this, that was great. So I threw that window, but I didn't know which one it was.
Okay. Thanks for everything.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the info, so yes,
Come back again.
I lost one. I dropped off one of your candles.
Okay, it's back up.
Oh, wonderful. Which of the windows was replaced?
There he is. We know you, young man.
Hi. The whole thing about the window, like my birthday. About 20 years ago.
There's this giant, a lot of people.
Yeah. Somebody come in and I'm sure it was costly.
We were just talking about it before, what this particular,
Skirt and wear. Skirt. Do you wanna? Are you sure it's interested?
Yes.
Okay. No, see that, the tour guide upstairs, remember him? Did you go upstairs yet?
Yeah, we're
Okay,
upstairs,
all right,
yeah.
the tour guide, that was really, so where's my tape? So far, that's really weird. You know what I mean? He just came out and said, where's my tape? I said, I said, you're supposed to be bringing me my tea, where's my tea? And we're in character. And I'm like, really? Yeah. So, the fact that that's open, and you have to see, then you cool. But I'm thinking this is the door underneath it.
Well, remember, when we got weekends at the street.
I knew that would be cool. That would be cool. Okay, so there's no toilet paper flying. Toilet paper flying in?
No, Jane left already?
She's having it through. She's fast.
Oh, well, if you want to look at the original one.
Okay, before we come in,
while you're in the bathroom, or you're with people, you want to do. Take this out. He cuts up. They'll walk with it before you know it. It's all closed in when they put the screw on. There's a closed door. I love it.
50 years now, they were, oh, I gotta fix the old place.
Yes, exactly. And now they have air conditioning and.
No, I saw the rest in the other room.
So I was like, you know, it's.
Well, I mean, you know, just the electricity alone
They
is,
took this out.
I know.
Right?
It's like a dungeon room.
Okay.
Because look at this arch, this was obviously built later.
Yes. It's standard. No, it's not standard.
No, look at the arch. See, that was filled in, that beam's not seated.
No.
All cracked, bro.
Mm-hmm. And the electricity is how, well, I guess in order to do some of these upgrades, they had to get through. Fire safety, whatnot.
Oh, this is the wine room. This is where it's for the cat.
Okay. So this is the wine room. Got it here. Now it makes
Yeah, the
sense.
barrels went all on the wall.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
These are just what the panels in the door.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Then they could have been some of the windows. Heidi. Yeah, the barrel.
Still gonna have dinner.
Yeah,
I'm sure you do, so.
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're starving, I was.
No, I'm good, I had a burger, remember?
Oh, that's right, yeah, you did eat something.
When are you open, during the day? Every Wednesday from 1 to 4. And that time where you can have a meeting, Wednesday, 1 to 4.
You still do the teas?
We have our meeting. That's when we play.
You still do the teas, or is that just like
Every
a,
Wednesday from 1 to 4.
oh, that's a tea? Okay, I thought it was a different tea.
I think that's the last one. I never make it. Last one. What do you, Elizabeth? Thank you. I never make it. Okay. You know what I mean? 1 to 4.
We're open on Sunday too, the last Sunday of the month, so.
Okay. You do that. Everybody knows it's good.
Nothing friendly, so I would say, what?
I know. I know. Yeah, well, my whole life was like,
You never know.
That's what it still looks like. Well, there, you see all the handicap ramps, obviously, this is a newer garbage can. Oh, there's a baby Frank. McKinley, I guess he seems to paint a lot of stuff.
Somebody has to sit down with these,
what they said. They were selling these from, but I'm saying from town at one point, Westfield had it, Frankfurt had it.
They couldn't do it for Linden.
They were not places, and I thought they were because they were in school. We had a lot of, I mean, they could have put it in.
The waterfront, there's Center Island, there's a submarine, the waterfront, there's a world first submarine. Everybody forgets it's here. The whole Eagle Village is here, school.
Going that way, you need your ticket.
Yeah.
Just like, over the years, people just went on and on. It's, said on it, it was a name that said on it. But there was never any evidence. Yeah, there's a legend that there was a tunnel over Staten Island. Oh, then there's another one, oh, well, they only went to St. Peter's, or the waterfront, and but there's.
I never came in,
No, well, my mother wouldn't even want to go drive past, I don't know why. I mean, but they said, well, what was the hotel in the fifties? It was. It was Ramsdale already, but
Yeah.
did you go stay here with us?
We remember coming during here when I was a kid in the 70s.
How many times
It
has,
was like the neighborhood haunted house.
well, yeah, the state took it over and tried to stadium, I'm a cool guy. And, so everyone that had been in the boarding house in the fifties and sixties moved out, except for one guy.
We're just ignoring you. No, that's okay, I was gonna ask her, she's talking. Oh, she's talking, so I didn't want to bother her.
No, talks about the guy who died in the fire.
No, I asked her at the door,
He had lived
I
here
asked her at the door, and
when
she said,
and he didn't want to go, he said nowhere else to go. The state was trying to get rid of him, but he was.
Just got a clip on
And
one.
his brother was
I know somebody that had one,
That's right.
and we do have a plug right here.
Yeah, but they have to look out at
Yeah,
it
yeah.
ones too, just put, you know.
Put it right on there, and it's here, you can
It's sensitive.
Now, we have one that's a magnet, and one, I like this.
I like this because I can put it in
And I like the wood.
I like the wood.
Oh, yeah, they're here.
I don't like that. I like this better.
You'd have to go over there and to get the toilet to flush, they had to pour water. It was just a mess. He was living like, I don't know, we would never live that way, but he lived in that room. Finally, they decided, all right, you're the caretaker, you can stay. And they put a little bathroom for him in this corner. So actually where she says that she feels him, he didn't die there. It was more like over here that his chair was, because where she says he died, there was a bathroom over there. There was a lavatory, there was like a sink and a toilet and it was like a partition. So his chair was not there, but it's the story is kind of mostly right. He had the cigarette, there was also no whiskey involved, it was just, he had the cigarette butt burnt to the end. And, because I was friends with this guy, Jack, who found him.
He says I was here.
Came in that door. I think they also tell you he came like over his shoulder.
Local history.
This little story on his shoulder.
Kept coming up.
Looked at him.
My master's.
Harold,
I said,
are you dead?
remember the thing?
Because he thought he wasn't moving and then I was like, oh, that guy.
And they were ready for it.
But yeah, this definitely is.
Thank you very much. She's good.
in the seventies, that was the first country that something really, they worked on the zoning review, because I was a kid there too.
You're right.
There was a first
You are
act,
right.
you know, there was actually.
You are right.
The first time it was open.
Well, thank you very much. We hope to see you back for another.
And,
When
the
we
only
lost
room that was
Bugsy, as
really
far as the,
presentable was that drawing room.
during the summertime?
And,
During the summer, yeah.
otherwise,
Yeah,
there wasn't it
once
so.
I know it
I
gets
guess
hard for
there's
me to
been
get away.
progress, although every last Sunday of the month, but when you think back to the seventies, there's a lot of progress, right?
And we're trying for everything.
And there's been volunteers.
I can't get out this phone.
I
I
remember when I
do dress
was
up
in
as
high
Hannah.
school, it was in the seventies.
They asked to see
In the early
the
70s.
character,
I think
so
it
he
was
was
like the
going to
first
turn
one
around.
in high school, he came in
Is that because I'm an old
to,
lady?
That's
because you're British. Is that because you're British, people told me?
and the idea was.
Your children, your children,
Yeah,
been
and
burned?
so we can prepare for the bicentennial. So
Well, really,
we did a lot of work.
Was that a paper?
Doing mattresses at the window, doing big dumpster. There's one
Because
high school
I- The lady doing fortune telling,
A
she
lot of
left
people
it
have
here.
worked on
And it's
little pieces.
supposed to be put away, but it's still sitting here.
We really do it
That's
great.
on the shelf.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's on the shelf.
And that's, I'm gonna put it in, that we need a wealthy paper.
Yeah, do that.
Sometime we pick up.
Yeah, well, you have like little chunks and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Go for it, you know, this is good.
Yeah, yeah, well, we sell them.
I just noticed it sitting there too.
Yeah, and this too, I don't know what the pants are still here.
The doggy bone.
Yeah, they're gonna have to take this out unless somebody really needs it for the bone.
Yeah, well,
Coming again?
Well, I was telling her about, that whole property around the corner was Eagle School back in the day. And that's, there's no sign that, I mean, it's just like forgotten
Well, you
history.
know what, it's interesting you bring that up, because I was just at the city.
Well, that's the area, yeah.
This was where
Thank you.
Revolutionary Days.
All right.
right.
So I was telling you.
You going to Folsom?
I was just saying that we, the history people in town have been talking for the last couple of years, and I think the Historic Preservation Commission is now finally, maybe gonna get something done. Well, I mean, talk is one thing, and actually like getting action, it's very slow to happen, but I think maybe something will get done. But talking about putting into effect, African American History Trail in Perth Amboy, because going all the way back, there's, you know, tremendous Black history here, and nothing is marked. So, starting even with the slave days, when Perth Amboy, the major port of New Jersey, the slaves, this was the major entry for slaves, and there was a slave market, and there was slave, they called it slave pen, or slave, you know, like a warehouse or dorm, or whatever you want to call it. There should be signs where these things were. Also, we had the first Black voter in America, the 15th Amendment, Thomas Lindsay Peterson. There's a little bit of a marker for him, there are a couple of places, school where he worked, which was, used to be our #1 school, but was renamed Thomas Lindsay Peterson School. He's buried in St. Peter's Cemetery, so there's a marker there. But the site of his house, we know exactly where his house was, the foundations are still there. Those little lanes, we think is probably still there, so we're trying to get an archaeological dig, which maybe we can use, but at least a marker should be on his house. Eagles Wood, because Eagles Wood, that's where the abolitionists were, the Wells, the Grimsby,
Yeah, Cory Booker.
and,
Yeah, Cory Booker, and I used to think that they're going to be celebrating some anniversaries, they got a couple.
Or Melendez, he was our governor.
They got, but they were saying, but you know Cory Booker, because he was reading some stuff up in New York, and they opened up a couple of places, and they did tour of the railroad.
you know, the other
Get
thing,
through here, Brian.
with the Underground Railroad, it was Eagleswood was a and, also, the Springs, Marcus Spring and his wife, Mrs. Spring, I forget her first name, but she, after Harper's Ferry, with, you know, the killings, well, the people who were arrested, like John Brown and the people who survived, they were arrested and they were in jail. I think in Baltimore is where they took them. I think they're in Maryland. Doesn't matter. Wherever they were in jail, they, oh, we're missing one.
Sorry.
She went to visit the, John Brown and his compatriots that were in jail. And when they were sentenced and were going to be hung, she said, what's going to happen to you? Where are you going to be buried? And there's one guy that, I don't know what happened to my body when I'm dead, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. She said, well, I said, you need to be properly buried. Do you mind if I take your body when it's finished? He said, no, go ahead, take it. And then his friend said, oh, take me too. I want to be laid to rest with him. So she snuck out the two bodies. Both in here at Perth Amboy, and they were buried there until the 1890s when they were reinterred up in upstate New York where John Brown is. They were reinterred with him. But from 1860 until 1890s, they were here in Perth Amboy, just on the grounds, the outer grounds of Eagleswood.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of little things like that, which as time goes on, people don't, I mean, you know, there's some people around that know enough to talk about it, but over time it just gets lost altogether.
I know, I mean, we were talking about the first submarine was here, John Holland, the first airmail route was over the river, where the bridges beside the Amboy.
Yeah.
And that's really, you know, it's small stuff, but still, it's historically significant. It happened here. This was the capital of the state. And just, you know, everybody talks about.
How about, do you know about first John Dyke, who is just doing demo upstairs? He did a DVD documentary about.
Yeah, I saw it in there.
Yeah, did you take that one?
No.
Oh, take it, because that talks about Eagleswood. And free, they're free, he does them for free,
Oh,
so take that.
thank you very much.
But, he did another one about a guy named, Solomon Andrews, who was an inventor. He had the Inventors Institute here, the colonial British barracks that we had in Perth Amboy, you know, eventually became thrown to disrepair. He took that over and turned it into like a factory. It was called the Inventors Institute. But one of the things that he invented, two things that were kind of famous. One was the first unpickable rock, and but the thing that John did this DVD documentary on, the bulk of it was about the first directional air flight, and it was a balloon.
Yeah.
Now they had balloons, you know, but you couldn't really steer it. Well, this guy came up with an airship that could be steered. He did it during the Civil War. He actually went down to the expert on it.
That's the arrangement.
I'm losing my voice.
Oh, no.
So, can you turn off the lights in the dorm room, put out all the candles?
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, there you go, all right?
All right, I'm just telling them,
Thank you very much.
I'm just telling them about the Arion and Solomon Andrews, and gave them.
Your story is what we were interested in.
Be good, guys.
Thank you very much, sir.
Take care.
Yep, so he,
Hope you got your tea.
so that, this guy doesn't get credit. He would have if the Civil War continued, because the Union Army was gonna buy it from him, and it would have been tremendous, because at that point, what they were using, they had balloons, so they could look, but they all had to be tethered.
Yeah.
But this, you could steer.
Right,
So-
because they were being shot out of the
This
sky,
guy,
too, they're
so he
stationary.
tested it here in Perth Amboy, so when it went up, there are stories about the people who were like, oh my God, they couldn't believe it, there he is, Dr. Andrews, because he was a medical doctor. Dr. Andrews was flying over Perth Amboy, and then, when later on he tested it, he needed to, go further, he flew from here to New York City, and he was able to steer the thing.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, well, I guess it was a good thing the Civil War ended, but it ended too soon for the whole thing to go into production and kind of start on new. So, yeah, a lot lot of things and, you know, think over it. I think kind of a nice place to live.
I mean,
It was kind of very villagey until the very end of the 19th century. It wasn't until the 1890s that things really started to get built up.
Yeah.
It was like a little backwater village.
my father was born in 1908, which is, people sort of blink at me when I say that, but yeah, he really was that old.
No, that's okay. My father was born in 1908.
Okay.
He didn't get married until later. So he had his kids early in 18 and he was born in 1908.
So, you know, it's very old, you know, we talk about,
Thank you.
we talk about the 20s and 30s like it happened yesterday, you know, these stories like, I can have to drive, what you got?
Seen this Model T on this side of the street and jumped in, started it up. I knew how to do it, I cranked it, moved around a little bit. Oh, I know how to do this. I was back and left it. I wouldn't say, you know, back then,
Yeah, you know, that wasn't Grand Theft Auto, that was just, you know, a learning for the next little while.
See, in the 40s, they had the same type of car, and my mom and dad got married, and somebody really got roof, I guess, up their way. So he found his car in the parking lot, started it, going home, and the police tracked him the next day, the wrong car home. But they had the same seats, so it's really weird, you know?
Yeah.
Really weird, you
Yeah.
know? So, it's one of those tap stories that you hear about the things in the family, you know? My parents were married for 60 something. Thank you for your
Thanks very much.
Nice talking to you. Happy birthday.
No.
Awesome to have you in Halloween, right?
It is, that's right.
I've actually never been here ever.
Thank you for coming.
He lives here. He's never been here.
A lot of people haven't done.
But as a child, if you were told this was a spooky house,
It's about 90
you
minutes,
know,
it's very
50 years later, you
It's
can.
more than just George Jenner, because I get that, at Eagleswood, Tiffany went to school there.
Tiffany was, yeah.
Yes, and it does talk about the Grimkeys and, Thoreau, and, you know, it's
And
much
the
more than just.
Tiffany, which Tiffany? The both Tiffany's, the brothers?
Tiffany, it's the main Tiffany, what was his first name?
Louis was there.
Tiffany,
Okay,
yeah.
because his brother, he, also
His brother might
painted.
have gone there too, but it was,
They painted, they did glass, they did a lot of things, but they did a lot of artwork on walls and things. I got married up in a church in upstate New York,
Mhm.
and it was all Tiffany, it was
Well, yeah,
documented, so it was like,
he's covered in there, you'll see.
and I about died when I walked in there, it was just
Mhm.
like, where did we find this?
Louis, what is it, Louis Comfort?
Louis Comfort
Yeah.
Temple.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you. And enjoy the birthday.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for your help. See, now, to step up, but that's dirt under it. And actually, the foundation.
Yeah, it seemed uneven and I couldn't figure why, and
Now we're
I think
walking
you're
up
right.
the dirt. Well,
Yeah, what's the level of the ground?
yeah. And that hole has to be outside. Okay. What about here? The neighbor's area, you see? It has to be underneath there.
It must be wacky, man.
That has right here. The whole, that tea room?
Yeah.
Has to be underneath these stairs. The tea room has to be underneath these stairs that was created to reach that door. And that's where the hole would have been, maybe to shoot out or to look. I'm very impressed. Thanks for bringing me.